gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's nice to see you. It's beautiful to be here. It's not quite a beautiful Sunday. It's a beautiful Monday though. And I am delighted to have you all alongside me as we break down the beauty of what was yesterday's League Cup final at Hampden Park. Celtic free, Rangers free. Oh, just beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. I've not even covered the point that we won on penalties. So, yep. There's been a lot of talk about penalties over the past 24 hours since the dust has settled from yesterday's game. And that dust being settled lets me think and lets me reflect. And, you know, when it comes to penalties, I mean, we talk about penalties. Rangers had 5 chances. They had 5 penalty kicks. They were crying about one they didn't get. They had 5, missed one of them. Celtic scored all 5. So, we've got a lot to cover. People talk about the music still in the background. Thank you for letting me know. I'll turn it off. Thanks. Thank you. We're going to try and cover a lot about it from every angle we possibly can. I'm going to take a lot of your questions. We've got a lot to talk about in this next half an hour. It's as simple as that. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. And also, may I very quickly say thank you all so much for 47,000 subscribers. We crossed the line last night. I woke up this morning after seeing Paul McCartney and seeing that we done it. So it's a great day for me yesterday, I must say. Celtic win the League Cup. Manchester United won the derby while I was down in Manchester, which is always nice. The Eagles, they won. They went 12-2 in the NFL. And I seen Paul McCartney. So, great day to be Ryan 118. Or should I say Ryan 119? Great day to be Ryan 119. 119 trophies. Don't forget it. Anyway, we are going to try and talk about things that we've get a lot of comments through already. It's nice to see over 200 live viewers. So should we start with the penalty? Because I just want to get it done and out the way, and I know that so many Rangers fans are going to be clawing on to this for weeks to come. The one thing that I didn't want to happen in this derby was there to be a narrative that would take away from the actual game itself. Not that it affects me, and listen, at the end of the day, Celtic have won the League Cup and that's it, it's done. Would I feel hard done by if the shoe was on the other foot? Of course I would, but it's not the case. So as a Celtic supporter, if you're expecting me to sit down on this chair and give you some sort of heartfelt explanation for what happened and for me to pass on my sympathies, I'm not going to do that. I don't feel sorry for Rangers. I don't feel sorry for Rangers supporters that their team were maybe done out a penalty yesterday. But I know the main question is going to be this. Ryan, do you think it was a penalty kick? The answer to that question is, of course, I think it was a penalty kick. And I know some Celtic fans might not like me saying that. It was. It was a penalty. It should have been a penalty. Liam Scales is very lucky to get away with it. But I'm not the SFA. I'm not the guy that sits in Clydesdale House that makes decisions when it comes to VAR. So, does it affect me? This cry, this outrage about it? No, it doesn't. Celtic have won the League Cup. I couldn't give less of a shit, to be honest. And I know that people will say, I know that people will be clinging on to that fact that if it was Celtic, I wouldn't be saying this, and that there's this anti-Rangers conspiracy in the SFA. I have been on this channel 8 years now. I think I'm coming up for my 9th year doing this. I can't fucking remember. And yeah, 9th year. Coming up for my 9th year doing this, talking about Celtic. And in that 9 years, the amount of decisions that have gone against Celtic are unbelievable. The amount of decisions that have gone against Celtic in derby games are unbelievable. I can think back to the time when Connor Goldson started playing fucking volleyball in the Rangers penalty area. Should have been a penalty to Celtic. I can think of times where Lee Griffiths was pulled down 1v1 on the Rangers goalkeeper. I think it was maybe Wes Foderingham on the day, I can't remember. But he was pulled down 1v1 the last minute of the game. Should have been a penalty. I can think of all these times. And I was honestly tempted to sit down tomorrow and make a video of every single decision that's gone against Celtic over the past 5 years and putting it into one big compilation and talk about it and talk about this anti-Rangers conspiracy. There is no conspiracy on either side. If you believe there is, you've got your tinfoil hat on and you're as bad as those that believe in fucking, I don't know, COVID vaccines given children, whatever. You know, you're as bad as them. There is no anti-conspiracy on any side. Referees make mistakes. It happens week in, week out. People telling me to make the video for a laugh. Listen, I do love the idea of it and I would love to, but I fear that it would take me weeks, let alone one day, to do it. These decisions happen every single week to every single team. And because it happened to Rangers Football Club, it's going to be blown up. But what I will say in response to that is, it happens on our side. Because when decisions go against Celtic, there is people who are Celtic supporters who go out their way to make it an anti-Celtic conspiracy, who go out their way to make it this whole big ordeal, this big situation within the SFA. The referees in this country are incompetent. The VAR officials are incompetent. Brendan Rodgers called it out in a press conference last year. He called them incompetent in front of a live microphone, and he was given a suspension for it. He was punished for it because he spoke openly, because he spoke honestly. Luckily enough, I don't get fined. I don't get punished for saying that. I can call them incompetent. These decisions are not done to get it right round Rangers Football Club. These decisions are not made. These errors don't happen to get it up Celtic Football Club. If you peddle any of that nonsense on either side of the divide, you're a fucking idiot. Pardon my French, but that's how I'm going to call it, and that's how I'm going to leave it. You're a fucking idiot. Because they're clowns at their job, they're bad at their job, and we see it for every team. It's not a Celtic or Rangers problem. It goes across the whole league. St Johnstone, Ross County, Aberdeen, everybody. They suffer to these decisions. And I have seen Celtic suffer to decisions like this countless times. I can remember the first day VAR was actually introduced into Scottish football. We took on Hearts at Tynecastle. You'll all remember it. How hard done by were Celtic that day? How fucking hard done by were Celtic done on the day in Tynecastle? Very, very badly. Very poorly. Refereeing decisions have gone on like that throughout the introduction of VAR to the current day we sit on. For Celtic and for Rangers. Sadly, this will be the narrative that is pushed about this cup final for months to come, I fear. Until Rangers win their next trophy. Which, you know, it could be this year, it could be the Scottish Cup, it could be next season, for all we know, it could be in 5 years' time. But this will be the narrative that carries over for every single game we come across. It has such magnitude. Every derby, this is just going to come up. I'm expecting Rangers to have an official statement out soon. I think that the new CEO has already called upon the SFA to explain their decision, asked for John Beaton to explain what happened. Sadly, I don't like backing up John Beaton. I don't like backing up many of the referees. Because John Beaton has got decisions so wrong for Celtic tons of times. But it's not a John Beaton problem here. You know, John Beaton hasn't have any explanations or anything to do. He didn't do anything wrong. He's the one on the other end of the microphone. He's the one that's got to hear what the VAR officials have to say. It's the thing has gone wrong there. Not with John Beaton's on-park decision. You can understand why a referee or a linesman has got that decision wrong. It's so close. It's so close, like the shirt pull and where the foot is and all the rest of it. You know, it's so close to tell with the naked eye. It's the reason we've brought VAR into the game. So it's not a John Beaton problem. It is the problem of the Clydesdale House officials on VAR. And I know that Rangers have already asked for an explanation. I'm assuming a full statement's going to come soon. I'm assuming that they'll also peddle this whole conspiracy nonsense. The fact of the matter is this: Celtic have won trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy since Rangers returned to the top flight of Scottish football, which also coincides with the introduction of Brendan Rodgers to Scottish football. Brendan Rodgers, I believe, has won something like, I think like 90% of the trophies that have been available to him since he came to Scottish football. He won the treble in his first season, he won the treble in his second season, he won the League Cup in his third season. Obviously wasn't here to finish it off. He's came back, won the double last year, and he's well and truly on the way to making it a treble this year. He's won over 90%, I think, of the trophies available to him in his time of being here, and in doing so, he has pushed. I genuinely do believe this, and I don't mean to say this in a green-tinted spec or Celtic fan sort of high horse narrative here, but I think that Brendan Rodgers has just genuinely broken them beyond the point of coming back. And the thing is, in football, it's inevitable that things change. Thank you, Wizard Mortal. 90.9%. Thank you for the preciseness of it. You know, in football, things will change. There will come a day, and it might be when I'm dead, which isn't very far away, to be honest, but it might be when I'm dead. There will come a day where Rangers will be the team that are on top again. It will happen. Naturally, it's going to happen. Not as long as I'm fucking living, but it'll happen. And, you Celtic fans will be the ones who are broken, who'll be done. And it happened to us before, and it'll surely happen to us again. It's just how football goes. It's how the sport goes. There was a lot on the line for Rangers, and this one hurts more than others. They've lost their made-up narrative of the world's most successful football club. The decals in Murray Park and Ibrox will have to be ripped from the walls. It is a torrid time to be a Rangers fan, and it has been since Brendan Rodgers came up the road back in 2016. And I genuinely do believe he's broken them. But my final word about this whole penalty nonsense, because I don't want to drag on about it for the next half an hour or the next 20 minutes of this stream. It's not an anti-Rangers conspiracy. It's not an anti-Celtic conspiracy. I've said this 1 million times over the 8 years I've done this YouTube channel. It is an SFA problem, a Scottish football problem. Human error comes into it. I genuinely believe that VAR is worse for the game than it is better. Because the way that I look at it is, if that happens yesterday, right, and VAR isn't there to correct the decision, you can get away with it to an extent. Yes, Rangers fans will feel hard done by, and they'll probably still peddle the same nonsense, right? I get that, I understand that, right? But at the end of the day, with the naked eye, it's so hard to get that decision right when things happen so fast. And then you don't need to worry about cameras analysing it and rectifying the decision. VAR is creating more problems than solutions in Scottish football. It's not the first time we've seen something like this happen. It certainly won't be the last. So what I'll say as my final word is, strap yourselves in. If you think this is anywhere near finished, decisions like this, well, you may as well give up football. You may as well move on to another sport. Anyway, in terms of the game itself, look, listen, Celtic are already underway with their silverware this season. The League Cup has been won. It's hopefully the first of a treble for Celtic this season. And all people will say, Ryan, don't throw out the T word already. Don't get talking about trebles. We've still got another one to win. Listen, the league is as good as won. The League Cup is at Celtic Park. The Scottish Cup is obviously the one now that we kind of need to focus in on and buckle down. Listen, we've got to buckle down in the league as well. It's not done until it's done. But it's the first of three, hopefully. Yesterday, Celtic were far from their best, but they got the job done. I think there's a few players that deserve some huge praise for their performances. I think there's a couple of players and some players that obviously deserve some criticism when it comes to their performance as well. We witnessed Greg Taylor literally... I said this on Twitter, but he completed the sacrament of penance, of reconciliation, live in front of our very eyes, because he gifts Rangers the first goal, and then obviously makes up for it with the equaliser early in the second half. But did he have a good game outside of that? No, I don't think so. He obviously gets a bit of luck with his goal. It's a questionable performance there. I don't think Ryu Hatate was anywhere near his best. I don't think he was terrible either. Questionable performance. Austin Trusty obviously struggled. He was hooked at half-time. Questionable performance. There were some players who just generally had pretty poor games. But then there's the players who came on and made such a difference to Celtic. The players who did make an impact from the first whistle and were there. Listen, first half, I think we were pretty invisible as a team altogether. I think that you can maybe erase that 45 minutes from existing and it doesn't really change the narrative of the match review. I think that you can just ignore that 45 and isolate the second 45, the extra time and penalties. But you've got to talk about Dyson Maeda, who once again has came up trumps in such a big game. Who's once again put himself in a position where he is the guy who's terrorised Rangers. And I see people talking about how yesterday, I seen Rangers fans tweeting that Tavernier actually had him in his pocket. How? He scored a fucking goal. How can you have somebody in your pocket and then score? And the goal is sensational. The goal is absolutely unbelievable. You know, a lot of people have made the same point with Dyson Maeda's goal yesterday, that, you know, in that situation, sometimes you're expecting him 9 times out of 10 to put it into the Celtic end, outside Hampden, into Rutherglen, you know. The control is world class. The finish is world class. And I thought he had a good game. Nicholas Kuhn, who I thought was the life of Celtic for the majority of the game, and even though I think some of his decisions in the first half were pretty questionable. I think there was especially that one, I think it was maybe 10-15 minutes into the game where he really should have taken a shot, and he ran it into Jack Butland's arms. But apart from that, I thought the life that was coming through him on that right hand side was vital for us yesterday. Obviously just a magic player altogether. He was great. I want to give two shout outs to players who came off of the bench yesterday and I thought changed the game for Celtic. Number one, Liam Scales, who I thought was absolutely fantastic. really changed the game for Celtic. I love Austin Trusty. Love him. Think he's great. And honestly, I think we have cemented our first team centre-half partnership between him and Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think that's it. And I don't mean that with disrespect to Liam Scales, who still has a huge part to play in this Celtic side, evidently. But Trusty is great. Just had an off day yesterday. I don't know if the nerves of the occasion got to him. And I know I've not even went over CCV. I was waiting till last. Don't worry, I will come back to him. But you've got the Scales, who I thought came on, changed the game for Celtic. I thought that his confidence playing out at the back was fantastic. His defensive performance was good enough. But it was more what he was doing with the ball, which was so good for us yesterday. Brilliant from Scales. He deserves his flowers for the performance. And finally, I want to say something about Arne Engels, who came off of the bench, and I thought yesterday looked good. I thought he helped change the game. I walked through the door coming back from Manchester this morning, I should say, or this afternoon, and the first thing my dad said to me when we watched back the highlights together was he thought that Engels changed the game for Celtic, and I'm inclined to agree. And I don't think it was anything spectacular that he done. I don't think he was exactly, man of the match worthy performance, but the pass for the third goal is truly unbelievable. Like, it's a fantastic pass, and I think that he just brought a wee bit of life into midfield, which was maybe needed at that point in time. And I thought it was great. There's so many questions being raised about him, whether he's been that £11 million player or been that guy who has lived up to the expectation we have of him. But, at the same time, it's peaks and troughs that you need to go through to then unlock the player. I thought he was great. Thought he came off the bench, done well. And then the two that I want to talk about, Kasper Schmeichel and Cameron Carter-Vickers, just before I get on to your questions and such. Absolutely sensational. The two of them. And Cameron Carter-Vickers, I mean, I've said that a million times. I sound like a broken record. The best centre-half this club has seen since the Martin O'Neill era. 100%. There's no question in my mind about it. He's just unbelievable. An absolute unit of a guy. Puts his body on the line when he needs to. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And Kasper Schmeichel, what an addition he has been to this side. I thought that it would be hard to upgrade on Joe Hart. I really did. And yet here we are with Kasper Schmeichel being so important, being so vital to everything that we do. And he made a few great saves yesterday. I mean, that one right before they find their equaliser for the 2-2. The save that he makes when the ball's destined for the top corner. Unbelievable. He's fitting so well. And, these are the guys that eventually go into the penalty shootout, help win us the game. Schmeichel with his save. What a day to be a Celtic fan. What a time to be a Celtic fan. You know what I mean? Listen, I was meant to be there yesterday. I gave up my ticket. I regretted it very, very briefly. And then I was there at Paul McCartney and I suddenly didn't regret it. But it was, wow, an experience. The defibrillators were out for everybody, I think. And listen, Rangers still can't beat us, even when we're not at our best. Do I think that it's an example of them getting closer to us? Of course. Not closer to us, I think they're still miles off us, but they can compete. But the cup final brings out a different side of them. They're going to do this at Ibrox, and then it'll go to Celtic Park, and I think we'll see more of the same Celtic dominance that we've kind of got used to. But they're picking up their form. They've quite obviously got confidence on their side. And we still got it done. We still got it done, and it speaks volumes to the character of this Celtic side, which is absolutely insane. Before I do move on to the last couple of points and your questions, shout out to the people who've donated so far. Just got a couple rolling in. First off, Elijah. Thank you, Elijah, for your donation. Saying, hope you enjoyed Paul. Good to talk on Twitter. Hope you enjoyed Paul too, lad. I absolutely loved it. One of the best nights of my life, hands down. And hopefully there's another tour announced soon, because I'd like to see him at least one more time before he calls it a day. So, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for the donation, Elijah, and also thank you to John, who sent a £5 super sticker. Thank you, John. It is much appreciated. I appreciate you. We've got a few things to talk about that we haven't covered, which I feel like are going to be impossible to get covered in the next 10 minutes alongside your questions. But there's so much to talk about, and we'll try and get there very quickly. For channel members, if you aren't a channel member, remember you can become a channel member. I know that we kind of fell behind a couple of streams in the past week. I have been so busy, if you can't tell. I will have the members only Q&A stream live tomorrow night, an FM stream hopefully live
Wednesday or Wednesday night. Thursday will be the podcast. So yeah, we'll have a couple of streams over the next couple of days. Just keep an eye out in the member section. I'll have them announced, and then we'll probably make up for it with a bonus stream over the weekend as well. Right, let's get into your questions, because I do want to spend that 10 minutes or so. Thank you, Dylan, for being a member for 3 months, by the way. Insane loyalty and membership status there. Let's get your questions and see what we're going. Ryan, did you see the video of Ida saying, even when we're not at our best, they still can't beat us? Glad to see Brendan has got Baldy and every bear greeting. Make Rangers greet again, as they said. I have not seen the video, but he's not wrong. And we'll wind up all the right people, of course. And I think it's one of those ones that are obviously going to bring, I don't know, it's going to bring a bit of conversation about it, and a bit of that topic of, is there arrogance in Celtic side? And there should be. You know, that's the thing, you know. The Celtic, I think, are allowed to be arrogant. Who's going to tell us we can't be? We've won every fucking trophy going for the last decade almost. Like, you know, I don't mean it in a kind of over the top way that disregards the rest of Scottish football. I do truly believe there are teams out there. We've seen it in Aberdeen who've kind of bucked up their ideas in the past 6 months and became a better side. We've seen it in Rangers' performance the cup final yesterday. There are teams out there who can stop this, but they're just not. So Celtic are allowed to be confident and celebratory, and just things, you know, it's just out, it's allowed. Enjoy yourself, you know, that's all I'm saying. Let's see, what else is there? You've seen that lot of going Tonto because Schmeichel was about 3 yards in the box for one of our pens. I have not, I've seen too much about their penalty that never got given to see anything else. Are we the people now, Ryan, says the evil genius. If that's how it works, are we now the quintessential British club? No, never. Of course not. Do you think Butland caught the ball outside the box? No, I don't think he did. I think that he looked as though he was about to, and it was good judgment, I would say, from Butland. I think that he timed it well, done whatever he had to do. At first, I thought he might have been when he slowed down the highlight and I seen it. You know, do you think this could set them back again? This was their best chance to beat us. They always come up short. What I would say to that, Elliot, is it's their own journey now. It's their own path. You know, they write their story now. They write their narrative. Not to sound very Cody Rhodes on it, right? But the thing is, they're the ones that have got their destiny in their hands as to whether or not they try and catch us or if it sets them back. That'll separate the difference of mentalities between the two sides, ultimately. If Rangers take the positives from yesterday, they'll use it to spur them on. If they've got money in the bank, they'll improve the team and they'll try and get closer to Celtic. But if they let the serial losers of the team, your James Taverniers, etc., take control and be the loudest voices, then yeah, probably will set them back. So it's all about how Rangers recover from here. You know, it's not Celtic's problem to deal with. Listen, it's all about focusing on us now. Rangers are in the rear view mirror. They'll be in the front windshield when it comes to the derby day after Hogmanay. So until then, we've got other games to focus on. Wizard Mortal saying, I thought we were quite static in possession as there was not much movement between the lines. Rangers did well to close the lanes, but we didn't do much to help stop that. And I agree, first half in particular, we were really static. We were really I don't know, we were just really lifeless. There was no urgency about the game at all. And I agree with you, I don't think there was much movement in certain areas of the park where we usually expect to see the runners go. And I think Nicholas Kuhn was trying to do a lot of heavy lifting that right hand side and didn't have much support when he did find pockets of space. And when he looked up, I think there was an example, I think it was in the first half, when there was like a cross from one of the Celtic players and just nobody moved for him, you know. And that's something I think that's cropped up in recent weeks. I think that we've seen that in a couple of games in phases. But hopefully it's something that we're working on, and obviously the build-up of games won't help at all. But we're still winning, we're still finding goals, and that's the main thing. But I agree, Rangers had a different game plan yesterday, and I think that's what brought them much more success. Every time we've played Phil Clement so far, I think that there's been a real problem with them just lumping the ball up the park. And Celtic have been able to eat that up. Yesterday, they didn't do that as much. They actually tried to, press Celtic. They tried to close us down and take the ball forward. So it was a different Rangers we were playing, and maybe we didn't expect that. Maybe there was an element of that. Thank you, Paul, for the $4.99. I appreciate it. God bless you. And thank you to Alistair, who says, for being a member for 3 months, thank you, and saying cheers. What a day, mate. Absolutely. What a day indeed. I need to scroll down the chat, so if there's anything you desperately want me to answer, please just keep spamming it. We've got about 5 or so minutes left of the Q&A. Who do you think is or was a better player for us, Maida or Sinclair? Hard one it is. It's incredibly hard. And I think that Maida makes the conversation more sway in his favour, I think, as the weeks go on. I mean, Scott Sinclair was special, man. We done a video on it, of course, during the last international break, so I'll point you to that if you want to go and see our opinions. Great day for me, Brooklyn. Absolutely. Fantastic day for me. Let's see. Thought Adam Ida was brilliant. Yeah, I didn't even mention it. I thought he was good. I think he's been the better striker this season, must be said. And that's, not to add to this apparent Kyogo narrative that I have going on here, but I genuinely do think that Ida's been the better striker this season. But listen, both of them can offer so much more than what we've seen so far. But yeah, I thought Ida was good yesterday, coming off. Ewan saying, still don't think Rodgers is getting enough credit for the job he's done. Was tipped for the sack a year ago, but now has built a machine and has continued to beat Rangers. Bow down to the king, says Ewan. Well, I mean, listen, you're not coming to the right place if you're thinking about lack of credit, because all I have done is give the man credit through the thickest and the thinnest. And I know you know that already, Ewan. But I agree. Look, listen, the media don't want to at the end of the day. The media won't give... Certain people will. Of course they will. But there's plenty in the media who want to try and belittle and put down Brendan Rodgers and his work and his achievements as much as they possibly can. Why? I don't know. Jealousy? Envious? Supporting certain clubs? I don't know. But especially compared to his first time here, I don't know what it is, but he doesn't seem to take the same sort of credit that he did initially, which I do think is unfair. Jordan, that's far too generous, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Jordan with a 9.99 saying, the loss of pace and our captain needs looked at. His running looks like jogging. Ballet needs to start for me now too. Merry Christmas when it comes. Thank you. And Merry Christmas to you too, Jordan. God bless you, the family, and everybody else. Yeah, look, listen, I think another player who I didn't really get to touch on in yesterday's video, or even this stream tonight, is Alex Ballet, who I thought came off and played really, really well. Came on, and played really, really well yesterday. I thought he played good on the left back position. I thought he was better than Greg Taylor. And I think that, one problem that we're having right now is that between the two of them, we see the ups and we see the downs. And when one starts playing well, the other starts playing well. And people are saying we need to start playing one consistently, but none of them are helping each other, or helping themselves in that conversation, because the two of them are playing well for a couple of games and then tailing off. And we've seen Valley play poor, we've seen Taylor play poor. That's when the other comes in, and it makes it difficult for Brendan Rodgers to probably make that decision. So we need consistency out of one of them. And I'm willing to see Valley get more chances, because Greg has been given. Let me just very quickly go over to the Celtic transfer marked. Let's see. If we go to Celtic's transfer marked profile and go to the squad stats, Alex Ballet has started. So Greg Taylor has started 21 times and been in the squad 22. No, that can't. Is that right? No, that's 21 appearances. Hold on, I need to go to the detailed view. Let's see. How many starts is that in squad? 20. Put it this way. It's a lot more. Valley's had 13 appearances to Greg Taylor's 21. So, we're seeing a lot more minutes for Greg. But they need to start taking their chances. I thought Valley carried the ball really well and stuff. And obviously McGregor has come under some criticism. Can he do all that work himself in the kind of pivot position of the midfield? Maybe there's a conversation for that, but I think that will come more towards the end of the season than any time soon. He still had a fantastic year. He scored a lot of goals for us. I think he's our top scorer in the league, in fact. He's had a great campaign, but he has lost pace. There's no denying, and that naturally does happen when you get to the age that Callum McGregor is. It's going to happen. He's one of the fittest men in football, but even the fittest men in football at one point are going to lose a bit of pace, are going to lose an edge to them. And that's just natural. Also, yes, 478 live viewers right now. If you haven't, please go down below and hit that like button. It would be much appreciated. It gets us on everybody's recommended. So please jump down there, do that. We'll take 2 or 3 more questions before I wrap up tonight. Will Clement be sacked before the end of the season? Not now. It looked as though it was a shoo-in. I thought he was going to be gone. I thought this could have potentially been his last day in the job if things kept going the way they're going. But listen, at the same time, I don't even know. It's not my problem at the end of the day. I'm not going to get worked up if he gets sacked or not. They've turned a corner, it seems, in recent weeks. Well, at last, we'll just need to wait and see. But, they'll change their mind like the weather over there anyway, I suppose. So that's that. We'll take a couple more questions. We all have been saying at Lennon Miller to be learn off McGregor the way that McGregor learned off Brown. Absolutely, I agree with that, Nielsen. I would adhere to that opinion. I think that would be a fantastic. No five-a-sides tonight, Ryan. No, we've chucked it. We've chucked it for the winter. It's too cold. No, I've not chucked it. I'd happily play, but everybody else is shitebags. So, no five-a-sides tonight. Probably not until, like, March. So I really should start getting to the gym, or things will get disgusting over the next month or two. Right, let's go. One more question. What am I ending it on? Well, do you know what? Here's a nice one to end it on. Here we go. Hoop doggy dog. There you go. Got there eventually. Ryan, it's been a pleasure as always. Hail, hail. Merry Christmas, boys and girls. And yourself, of course, Ryan. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, Merry Christmas to you all. I know we're not at Christmas yet. I'm going to be here every day until Christmas. Don't know why I'm fucking saying it now. But it's been a great Christmas feeling, hasn't it, these last couple of days? James, thank you for the donation. I agree. We do need to pass it quicker in some segments of the game. But thank you for tuning in this evening. I feel like we've not even scratched the surface of what we could discuss in the game yesterday. Of course, we dedicated 10 or 15 minutes almost to that penalty claim. I'm saying that when it was a penalty, but you know what I mean. So, yeah. We're probably going to cover it more in the podcast throughout the week. We'll be back in the channel tomorrow, of course, as well. So enjoy the rest of your evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure spending it with you tonight. Channel members, I'll see you all very soon as well. But for now, that's all. So like and subscribe. Thank you for 47,000 subscribers, and I'll see you all next time. Ta-da.